Welcome to A Magical Life, Health, Wealth and Weight Loss. I'm your host, Magic BARCLAY, lead practitioner at Holistic Natural Health Australia and #1 best-selling author. In this podcast, I aim to give you practical tips on how to accelerate and sustain your health, increase your financial, spiritual and emotional wealth, and to look at something that haunts many of us needlessly, weight loss. In some episodes, I'll have guests available to give you even more tips, but in others, the floor is yours. Drop us a line at A Magical Life Podcast on Facebook and let me know what you would like to know more about. Now, sit back and enjoy, because it is time for you to create and truly discover a magical life. Welcome back to A Magical Life. I'm your host, Magic BARCLAY, and this is your episode 182. And we have Tom Glaser here, and he's talking about all things personal connection. Tom is a licensed psychologist and life coach with over 35 years of experience. Tom is also a best-selling author and yoga instructor. His book, Full Heart Living: Conversations with the Happiest People I Know, is an Amazon.com bestseller. Whether counseling, writing, or teaching, his passion for helping people live their best life flows through. Welcome, Tom. I'm so excited to speak to you today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity, Magic.
Now, tell us a little bit about what got you into full heart living and connection, and what got you down the road that you're on now?
Yeah, for sure. So I have always been, interested in positive psychology. I've always kind of gotten jazzed about looking at the positive side of things. In grad school, shrink school, as we call it, you kind of focus on all the diagnoses and, kind of the dark side. And so it's good to have some lightness here and there. And then the truth is, Magic, it was through the unhappiest period of my adult life. I had my dream job and I couldn't wait to wake up and go to work every morning. And I was going to retire there. I was very attached. And then things changed very suddenly when a very difficult coworker who I was assigned about half of my tasks on my job with, this person couldn't stand me and it undermined me and just made my work life a living hell. I gave up my dream job, but in the midst of my grief and depression, I noticed happier people all around me, and I just got really curious. I started asking questions, and it just snowballed into, I call them mini documentaries, but they're really videotaped interviews, and that led me into the book. And I learned that happier people connect really deeply. So that's what we'll be talking about, the ways they connect. What do they do?
Well, that sounds really, really interesting. And I'm sure that you can explore that a bit more with us. But first, I want to ask you the same 3 questions I ask all my guests. Okay. And I get such an array of answers. It's just amazing, but I can't wait for yours. So here's your first one. What can your expertise do to accelerate health, not just physical, but also emotional and spiritual health?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I called it full heart living, happier people live with their full hearts. That includes embracing all that life throws at us, Magic. Happier people don't avoid or, shove down times that they're sad, for instance, or I don't know, they're mad or angry or anything that's harder or challenging or that we sometimes label as negative emotions. They embrace all of it. They know that all emotional states are temporary. And this is the way I like to say it. They find their ways to support themselves through these tough times, knowing they're temporary. That's very different. People who I tend to work with a lot of anxiety or depression, Magic, and I'm sure you've seen this too, tend to want to not feel things. And if you're not going to feel worry or sadness, there's like this parallel. It also suppresses our ability to experience joy. Who needs that? And joy is spiritual. right? When we laugh really deeply, right, we kind of transcend, we kind of go to another level, right? We're just totally in the present moment. To me, that is a spiritual moment.
Now, Tom, we also talk about wealth here. People often think wealth is only financial, but it can also be personal and emotional wealth, which then lead to financial wealth. So, what are your top 3 tips to creating wealth?
It really dovetails well with the top learnings of what I discovered in writing the book. And why don't I just quick touch on those now? So, happier people connect really deeply with themselves, with others, and with their passions. So, happier people are wealthy in those areas. Who cares about the material things when you're living a life that's filled with people that you love and you are in the present moment and you're doing things that fill your tank and fill your soul? That's true wealth. Of course, it may sound like a cliche, but it's really true. And I think you're right that when we kind of follow our bliss, our needs somehow get taken care of, even on the material plane, is what I have found.
So, when I sent you an email about the questions that I ask, you mentioned to me that you need to connect deeply, not only with others, but yourself and your passions.
Yes.
What happens if people can't connect to one of those things? Is there an imbalance? Is there, some sort of off kilter angle to their life? What happens?
Well, I find that it kind of doesn't matter where you enter any of those spheres, they all feed off. So if I start with connecting with my passions, I'm going to be naturally led to connecting with other people, right? I'm going to find people who share those interests. Say I take a class in whatever it is, knitting for some reason is coming to mind. If I'm really into knitting and yarn, right? I'm going to take a class and I'm going to meet other people with that same passion. So I'm connecting with a passion. As I'm doing this activity, whether it's knitting or singing or bowling or hockey, whatever it is, I'm connecting with myself, right? And I'm connecting with my passion. So all of them feed into the other. There's such overlap. So I don't see people, once they really commit to this, I don't see an imbalance.
That's great then. And look, we do talk about weight here. Many people battle with their weight, whether they need to lose weight, gain weight. It's quite a needless journey. But we also know that stress is a major cofactor in this weight battle. So, first of all, have you ever battled your weight? If so, what was the trigger to lose it? And what can you offer the listeners who may be struggling with their weight?
I wouldn't say I've had extreme issues, but yeah, I've packed on pounds as I've gotten older. Physical activity, of course, being really mindful with what and how I eat makes a huge difference. I am mostly vegetarian, nearly vegan, and eating high fiber foods with a lot, vegetable plant-based diet, a lot of beans. I find it's really filling and satisfying and delicious. Let's not forget that. And yeah, I try to be physical every day, and I do activities that I love. I like running. I love walking, particularly with the dog, particularly in nature. I've been playing pickleball the last half year or so. I'm not great at it, but it really gets me moving. And again, so I'm doing an activity I enjoy, and I have met people through pickleball. And like when I had a running partner way back in the day, we would go on these long runs together and forget all about any pain from running. I mean, not like dangerously, but how hard running can be. And we would connect. So whenever we could, we would run along the Mississippi River here in Minneapolis. So it's just beautiful. So soaking in the sunshine and the fresh air. So doing physical activities that one enjoys. That's what I would say.
Terrific. Now, I'm going to wrap this episode up because I really want to have you back in our next episode and really discuss connection to a greater depth. So,
Great.
for now, we love
Yeah.
freebies. What can you offer the listeners and where can they find it?
There's a link on my website, fullheartliving.com. Heart, of course, is HEART. And you can get 25% off my book if you click on that link and then enter the word full as you check out. There's also a free workbook on that website. So each chapter in my book ends with concrete ideas for bringing what's talked about in the chapter into your own life. And all those activities are available for free download right on my website.
And people can find you on Facebook at Full Heart Living, also on Instagram, Full Heart Living. And your website was fullheartliving.com. So, Tom, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much for joining me. And listeners, thank you for your time. This was your episode 182 of A Magical Life. Go forth and create your magical life. Thanks for listening today. Please subscribe to hear future episodes, leave a review, and share this podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at A Magical Life Podcast or at Holistic Natural Health Australia. That's holistic with a W. You can find us on Instagram at Holistic Natural Health or at www.holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. That's where you'll access all sorts of articles, freebies, and more.